Good luck playing this one in real life. It's Charizard VMAX. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most expensive cards from Darkness Ablaze, that is Charizard VMAX. This one I am not going to be playing in real life because every single Charizard VMAX that you put in this deck is going to cost you about 150 Australian dollars, which is way too much money, way too much money. Charizard collectors are insane, but there is actually reason to play it. Its attack is probably one of the better ones coming out of Darkness Ablaze. Being able to deal 300 damage is really, really useful. So we'll see if we can't get that attack off in this video. But before we take a look at the list, if you haven't already considered subscribing, jump down below and click that button. It only takes a second, and you can always unsubscribe if you'd like. And whilst you're there, give the video a like so that the video can be promoted throughout YouTube's algorithm, however that works. All I know is that when you click the like button, I get a little burst of dopamine. Makes me feel very nice. Anyway, let's take a look at the list and see how Charizard VMAX is going to work, provided, of course, that you can afford it. So, frankly, this Charizard list is incredibly expensive. There's so much stuff that you need. I mean, we've only got 3 Charizard VMAX in the list, so that's, you know, only $450 right there, provided, of course, that the value doesn't go up. But we do, of course, need 4 baby Charizards along with it, so that's going to be a little bit awkward. Let's talk about the V first, because Fire Spin in and of itself is actually a relatively strong attack, so if you get a chance to attack with a baby Charizard, it might be worth doing. 220 damage for 4 energy is a little bit costly. You need to discard 2 energy as well from it, but against things like those V Pokemon that are floating around have 220 HP. This one has 220 HP, so you are more than capable of taking prizes with just the basic. It is not too difficult to do. Claw Slash is also a pretty solid attack. 80 for 3 means you can get that attack going with 1 Welder, but of course the main attraction is the Charizard VMAX. Claw Slash does 100 for 3, which you can actually do for a single attachment if you find triple acceleration energy. And G-Max Wildfire does 300 damage. That'll get close to a knockout on pretty much anything in the format. It costs 3 fire and 2 colorless energy, so it's quite expensive, and you need to discard 2 energy from this Pokemon in order to use the attack. But again, we have triple acceleration energy, so we can discard that and get that 300 damage off. That should be beautiful. Now, 300 damage isn't enough to take knockouts in this format. Obviously, we've got a lot of VMAX Pokemon floating around, and Charizard has 330. It's not actually the highest amount of HP that we've got, so we need to be able to deal some extra damage somehow. We've got 3 copies of Galarian Zigzagoon in the list to help with some 10 damage ticks, as well as 4 copies of Scoop Up Net to reuse those Zigzagoons. And we've also got 2 copies of Vitality Band so that we can attach that to Charizard and get an extra 10 damage that way. Hopefully we can take some big knockouts with Charizard VMAX, but if we don't get the opportunity to, then we at least have the backup option, that is Baby Volcanion. Any attack with High Heat Blast with a Baby Volk will get you within range of a knockout with Charizard VMAX, unless it's like a Center Scorch with 100 million of the new fire energy that gives extra HP on top of it. So High Heat Blast, very, very good, but also Flare Starter, very important for this deck, because if we start Volcanion and get a Charizard in play, we can Flare Starter on our second turn, give our Charizards a bunch of extra energy, and then we'll be set and ready to go. I'm about to cough. I just breathed in a bit of water, which is really weird. Oh my goodness. I should cut that out, but I mean, I'm not going to. So, this is in the video. Like I said, Flare Starter will be really, really good to get onto our Charizard Vs on the second turn. The rest of the deck is literally built around powering these things up. We've got ourselves a copy of Eldegoss. Eldegoss can help us find Welders, which we of course run 4 of. We also have 2 copies of Dedenne, which we can search out with our Quick Balls or with our Pokemon Communications, and also 1 copy of the new Crobat V. So just in case we didn't want any more expensive cards, Crobat comes along. Dark Asset, very good to be able to extend our hand. Dedenne and Crobat both available on the same turn as well, so if we do need to go hunting for another little Zigzagoon, then we can potentially find it. The only thing that I'm really worried about at the moment with the setup that we've got is that we might have one too few either Charizard VMAXs or search options. The only way we can search for VMAX Charizard is with Pokémon, and we only have 3 of those as well. But it should be fine. It should be okay. Potentially, we could cut down on one of our 3 Giant Hearth, but this is obviously very important to help us find our Fire Energy. We run 11 of these. We need to get them quickly. We need to have them attached to Volcanion for Flare Starter, and we obviously want to get them attached to the VMAX as quick as we can. So that's a bit of a trade-off. Do you get the energy to attach to the VMAX, or do you get the VMAX itself? It depends how you feel. I wouldn't mind swapping that around a little bit. Switch, obviously, very important as well. Switch will get you in and out of the active. Maybe this Volcanion gets stuck somewhere, you want to switch out of it. You can scoop it up with Scoop Up Net as well, but you probably want to save those for your Zigzagoons if you can. When it comes to the supporters, we've already mentioned Welder. It's integral that we be able to use this as frequently as possible, but if it doesn't work out, maybe we don't need to use it on a turn. Professor's Research, very good for drawing cards. And also Boss, got 2 copies of that in the list. You would presume that we only need to attack twice to win with this one, so 2 copies of Boss will be the way to go, but we can also get it back with Eldegoss anyway, so that will be a-okay. Now, I've mentioned the Vitality Band. We want to attach these as early as possible. Any extra damage that we can do is really, really useful. And then there's the 3 triple acceleration energies as well. We only really need 3, because if you've attacked 3 times with Charizard VMAX, you've probably won the game already. So it's one of those ones where we need 2 to attack twice, play 1 more card than we actually need, and that should count us in good stead. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, if you've got the money and you can afford to put together this list, even online, it's still stupidly expensive. If you've got the cash, then by all means use this deck, because I think it is really, really good. There's lots of work to do on it, a little bit of tweaking, but I'm not sure that there's that much that I'd really want to change, to be fair. And hey, we'll show off in the ladder in a second. But I don't think I've ever been so impressed by a number on a card, yet not want to play it. Like, it does 300 damage, but I'm not interested in playing this in real life even for a second, because I know it's just going to be prohibitively expensive to play. Anyway, I'll stop complaining about the cost, and we'll jump into the ladder and see exactly how this deck's supposed to work. Hopefully. So, as it says on my shirt, it is time to play some Pokemon. We are up against Speedlemon here, very interesting. We probably don't want to win this coin flip. It's quite good that we've managed to get there. We want to go second, because oh my goodness, this is almost perfect. We've got Volcanion, and we have Charizard V as well. I'm thinking it might be worth chucking it down. If our opponent wants to boss it out, then they can. I just don't want to lose access to these things here. We are going up against the Mad Party list that has been floating around. It's interesting because we don't actually need to use Charizard V in this matchup. We could probably just attack with Volcanion, so we probably don't need to use the VMAX, although it'll be good to have the extra HP, because this deck can really push the boundaries of damage. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, this list is the pre-rotation one, playing Mysterious Treasure, so obviously take this with a bit of a grain of salt. We'll see whether or not it is going to be useful for our testing or not, but here we go. Let's, I think I'm going to weld it to the active, as silly as that sounds. I'd like to draw some cards. We only have 1 energy. This is not an ideal position to be in by any stretch, but we've got the Pokemon Communication, so I think I'm almost happy to just Flare Starter here. Just double check how many of the... No, we've not got any Mad Parties in there. What I'll do is I'll just Flare Starter here, and then we'll attach some energies to this Charizard, and hopefully everything works out for the best. Because we don't have an attack just yet, but we do have Pokemon Communication to find Dedenne or to find ourselves a copy of Crobat. So, worst case scenario, we can get into that. I just don't want to give our opponent extra prizes that they can take. I'd rather have like 2 Volcanions and 2 Charizard VMAXs. I think that would be my preferred option, but you never know, it might not happen. We're going for another mysterious treasure here. There's only 2 cards in hand, so you'd think that they'd have to grab, yep, a Dedenne. That's a Mad Party that they can discard. T-Break is going to be the key here. Now, they need to have 6 Mad Party Pokemon in their discard pile to get a knockout on this Volcanion, so there's a good chance that they won't actually be able to do that this turn. And if they don't, then we can potentially knock out one of their Pokemon as well. Here comes a Roxy. They're getting rid of a Bunnelby. So there's only 4 cards left in hand. That's 2 Mad Parties, so 40 damage. I'm thinking that any energy off of the top here will give us access to pretty much any knockout that we want. We've got the boss in hand as well, so if we want to, we could even take a knockout on Dedenne, but we need to find an energy here. Now, this Zigzagoon is actually going to be really good, because what we could potentially do is we can potentially gear ourselves up for knockouts on Pokemon like these Bunnelby. So I think that's going to be what I do here. We'll use Zigzagoon, pick him up again, chuck that down, get some extra damage onto the field. And then we will use Pokemon Communication to put the Eldegoss back into the deck and grab a Dedenne. Now the question is, do we want to use the triple acceleration energy or not? My gut feeling is no. We'll just take a knockout with High Heat Blast this turn, I think. Of course, relying on finding that fire energy, we do find it. That is good, and if we'd like, we can also get ourselves a knockout on this Bunnelby as well. I kind of don't want to do it just yet, but I will put the extra 10 on it. Now, the reason that I don't want to knock it out just now is I don't want to make it easier for our opponent to knock out our Volcanion than it already is. They've got 2 Mad Partiers in the discard pile. They're about to have 3. Let me just check here. Is it worth... It's probably worth me knocking out this Poltegeist, although this is our second boss. Means we only have 1 more. I think I'll just take the High Heat Blast here. Potentially could have gotten that knockout there, but I don't know if we really need to do it. Yeah, we'll go with this, and we'll hopefully be able to utilize our attacks a little bit more efficiently. The best thing is they are going to... Oh my goodness, that's really good. I'm glad that we didn't use the boss. Whew! Jeez, that could have been horrifically bad. Next turn, we're going to take a prize on the Bunnelby, and then whatever they promote, we're going to be able to knock out as well. So that's going to be really, really good. Although they could potentially get themselves the knockout on the active Volcanion this turn, considering they've got 2 Poltegeists down already. That's 4 Mad Partiers in the discard pile. There's going to be 5 here, and that's probably going to be enough. Kind of feeling a little bit uncomfortable about that Oricorio being on the bench there, because they're going to be able to draw a lot of cards and get into the Mad Parties that they need. There's 5 there now. I need 1 more. Looks like that is it. Yep, so there's the knockout on our Volcanion. Means that we are going to need to promote the Charizard VMAX. Next turn, Marnie. Okay, cool. So the boss isn't going to get punished too badly, and we've got access to an energy. The stadium going down is a little frustrating, but it's okay, because we are going to be able to take a knockout. In fact, we'll be able to G-Max Wildfire here, which will be very, very impressive. Hopefully we can find a Zigzagoon. That would be great. We'll get rid of the Giant... I'll put down the Giant Hearth. That'll get rid of the stadium. Now, I'm thinking we discard the Triple Excel. That's so bad. That's our second one. We're going to discard it because we might be able to find energy to attach to another Charizard. Look at this. Okay, cool. So we've done that. That's really good. We can play down the Charizard. We can... what we should do is we should pick up this Zigzagoon and then put back down the Zigzagoon. Take the knockout here and see what they promote. Let's see what they promote. We will see. I'm just going to put up Sinistea. Okay, that's fine. We will attach to a second Charizard and then Claw Slash. That'll be decent for us. Hopefully we can get something decent here. Oh, an energy. That's pretty good. We're in a little bit of an awkward spot, though. Probably could have attached to the Charizard VMAX if I was expecting to take a knockout on one of the GXs on the bench. I'm not really trying to do that. I'm predicting that the Charizard VMAX will survive a turn here. It would be very awkward, though, if they gusted out the Dedenne, but that's not really that bad. They're just going to try and half hit us, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in total. 8, so that's 160, plus they're going to get an extra... Oh, they're getting the Wheezing, of course. The Wheezing ticks are going to be pretty solid as well. We're going to be able to take a knockout with the Charizard VMAX, but we're not going to be able to maintain our pressure as well as I'd like. We need to take 2 more knockouts, right? It's as simple as that. 2 more knockouts and we'll be good to go. There's 2 Wheezings coming down. We actually are pretty close to winning this game just through deck out as well. That's what Mad Party tends to do, is they tend to draw a lot of cards, so that's not too bad at all. Now, they need to have, like, 320 damage here, which is not gonna... It's not going to happen, surely. Surely not. Great catcher. Can take the knockout on the Dedenne. Sure thing. All of their useful resources gone. Play down another Bunnelby and attach an energy. Fair enough. We actually can't take a knockout on that. Oh, well, now we can. Now we obviously can. They're using a lot of cards. Okay, so they've taken almost all of their prizes. If they get 1 more knockout on this Charizard VMAX, then they'll win the game, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach to the active, and then what can we do? I think we just play down pretty much all of our cards, I think, so that if we get... No, I don't want to play down all of the cards. This is kind of awkward. I think Mad Party might be able to do it. Might be about to do us in here. Or Claw Slash will just take the knockout. Hopefully we find ourselves access to a Pokemon search card. That Welder could potentially be good depending on what happens. How many Mad Parties have they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're doing 200 damage. Are they going to be able to take a knockout on our active or not? That's the question. I'm going to draw 2 more cards. They're getting pretty close to having an empty deck. Any more discards, you'd think that we would be able... T-break, cool. So we just win the game. Excellent. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Because you're not going to be able to do 310 damage. That's almost impossible. Impossible. Surely not. Surely they can't do 310. Ordinary Rod. There we go. We're going to put some Pokemon back in. Put some energy back in. Or just Pokemon, really. To make sure that the game continues. Trying to put some more cards in the discard pile. Oh, pardon me. So it's not all over for us just yet. We could potentially come out of this one on top. I'm going to retreat into Poltergeist. Fair enough. I'm thinking top decking and energy here would be pretty solid. I really like that. That would be fantastic. Oh, yeah, like that. Let's Welder onto the Charizard on the bench and see what we get. Okay. Okay. Thoughts are that we do this. We do this. We try and get rid of stuff. Unfortunately, Gust is going to be pretty much all our opponent needs to do to win this game. I want to Dedenne preferably. Then I don't think that there's ever any of these cards that we really want to play. We'll just Dedenne and hopefully it all works out for the best. This is obviously not ideal. We would much rather be able to do much more interesting things than this, but that's okay. We'll get our last energy out. We'll hold the Quick Ball because that'll get us the win next turn. We'll play down the VMAX just to make it that little bit harder for them to get a knockout. But if they have a Gust, they're going to win anyway. So that's all that we can realistically hope, is that they don't have that Gust in hand. But you'd think that they definitely do. Only 1 boss being played. I mean, if they have 2 bosses, there it is. There's the win. Poor Charizard cannot deal with a teapot. That probably is a good thing, though, considering how expensive the things are. So there we go, we can't quite get across the line against Mad Party, but I don't think that that's a mark against this deck. It's not designed to beat these things super consistently, and I mean, it's the first time I've ever played against it, so it's not the end of the world. I mean, what we should really do is we should test it out against some other decks. We'll probably play this one again on Twitch. If you want to check that out, then jump across to twitch.tv/thesableyes. This one will probably go up against some other more meta-relevant decks, and decks that have only standard legal cards in it. Obviously, PTCGO, as of the time of recording, hasn't swapped over yet to the new standard format, whereas this list is 100% new cards, so you can definitely use it definitely can. And I think it's good enough. I think it's good enough to take on a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if it's going to be top tier, but it is very, very powerful, and it's capable of taking some big KOs. Just can't beat Pokemon with 40 HP, wouldn't you know it? Anyway, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please consider subscribing. Click the button on top of the Sableye. Now, on the left side of the screen are some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and in the bottom right is our Darkness Ablaze decks and gameplay. Check those ones out if you are looking to keep up to date with decks for the standard format. Thank you everyone for coming along, and we'll see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.